We have two speakers left, and next up we're going to hear from Stephen Renderos of MediaJustice.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Senator Blumenthal, Markey, and Representative Velasquez. I'd like to also start out by wishing everyone safety and wellness for you and your families. My name is Stephen, and I'm Stephen Renderos, and I'm the Executive Director at MediaJustice. We're a national organization representing over 100 racial justice groups from across the country who are members of our network. And together we're fighting for a future in which we're all connected, represented, and free. Just about 2 weeks ago, we hosted a digital town hall called The Right to Connect, where a couple commissioners from the FCC got to hear stories from people on the front lines of disconnection during this pandemic. We heard from Mercedes Martinez, a teacher in Puerto Rico, who said that over 65% of the children currently sheltering in place have no internet access at home and no computers. We heard from Loris Taylor, someone who's working in tribal communities to close the digital divide, communities that face some of the lowest levels of internet access anywhere in the US, particularly those that are based in rural tribal reservations. And she said that folks on the reservation are literally crying out for information, and think about that in a moment in which that's particularly harmful in the middle of a crisis that really relies upon each of us having the information we need. We heard from Leonard, who's a Lifeline subscriber who was sick and tired of having to choose whether to have a phone or internet access, and having to constantly think about rationing his minutes in order to make the phone calls he needs to in order to communicate with his family members. And lastly, we also heard from someone who just 4 months ago was released from prison after spending more than 15 years there. And one of the things he said that really stood out to me was this idea that in prison, connection with your family and with the outside world is treated like a privilege to be earned and not necessarily a right. And sad to say that the world that he's stepped out into today treats connection and communications as a privilege to be earned and not a right. We have 100 million people in the US with no internet access, including the over 5 million children that you've heard of that make up this thing we call the homework gap. The point is this: the days of treating the internet as a luxury that only some can afford has got to come to an end. That's why we were proud to join the several organizations that are a part of this effort to deliver these petitions, urging Congress to take action to fully address the digital divide now. So we're proud to stand with our partner organizations here, including Access Now, Free Press Action, Demand Progress, Fight for the Future, and others. And we'll be continuing to push and pressure our leaders to do what needs to happen in order for us to not just survive this pandemic, but thrive. Thank you.